Welcome to Marketplace with Charles. Marketplace is brought to you by Art of Skin Care, the company that brings out the beauty in you, and Kuwisa Lodge, where dreams do come true, from deep in the heart of Moabi Nature Reserve, as well as Grace Farms, your #1 daily fresh produce. I am Charles Ngobeni. On Marketplace, we redefine your future by equipping you with tools that you need to achieve your entrepreneurial dreams. Each week, we'll bring you insight from experts in different fields of business, from wise men and women of great stature. My guest on today's show is a specialist physician and a certified nephrologist, currently heading the nephrology unit at Leratong Hospital in Mokhalo City, and has worked in the medical field for 32 years. She is a wife and a mother of 2 adult children. She, together with her husband of 32 years, co-founded Faith Tabernacle Ministries. She is also passionate about women empowerment. Kidney or renal disease is common, and South Africa is not immune to the disease. Renal disease can be linked to other diseases, communicable and non-communicable alike, including COVID-19. Understanding its causes and how it can be prevented and treated is essential in addressing the health challenges. Our guest today shares information on kidney disease, including prevention and treatment options, based on her experience of working as a nephrologist. Please help me welcome Dr. Makhotso Moabi in your home or wherever you may be watching this episode from. Dr. Moabi, welcome to Marketplace with Charles.
Thank you, Charles, and thank you for having me on your program. And a special welcome and special greetings to the viewers at home. Thank you.
Doc, I don't know if they still call you Doc at church because you are carrying different hats. Tell me, being a specialist, what does it entail?
They call me Mamfundis. Yeah. Well, being a specialist, first of all, I had to go through pass well in matric, especially in grade 11. And then afterwards, I applied at the medical school. And then that takes 6 years of training, followed by internship. And now it's community service. And then you specialize, you become a registrar. So for 4 years. And that is basically a registrar is a doctor who is training to become a specialist. So you work for those 4 years, and then after the 4 years, you have an exam to go through, and then you can qualify as a specialist.
Which medical school was that, and when was it?
I qualified at the Medical University of Southern Africa, Medunsa, and I qualified in 1989.
Wow, long time. A long time. So you basically went there during the apartheid time.
Definitely.
With Dr. Frank Chikan, who was very big with Medunsa during those years. Yeah. He was like the father figure.
Yeah, no, definitely, yes.
What challenges did you have having qualified as a nephrologist, especially going through Medunsa during the apartheid era?
Most of the challenges actually came up when I became a registrar.
Yeah.
All right, and I did that with the vet circuit, the University of the Witwatersrand. And medicine is quite a broad field, and you need someone to hold your hand and to walk with you. And that was the time when I experienced most challenges, because you just find, unavailability of people to actually hold your hand and walk with you. You can work the 4 years and finish, but the exam is the one that determines, who goes through. And that is why you end up having many people just becoming frustrated, after the 4 years, because it's like you are prepared now to be a specialist, and then you are told you cannot, despite the fact that you were in charge, for the past 4 years. And then the exam determines who goes through and who doesn't. And that is the most frustrating period. And I must say that that was the time when I experienced a lot of challenges, because I was just, I kept on writing the exams and not going through. And that's the period as well when my faith was tested, and the support of friends and family became very important. Well, it's still happening even now. I can't say it happened then, because when I went further and did my super specialty period, that is to become a nephrologist now, that's when the bigger challenges came. And I can attest to say that in the country, of all the nephrologists that we have, we've got less than 15 who are Black African females.
Oh.
So, and this is for the entire country. So the challenge is still huge. It's massive. It's not easy. But one thing is, it's all inside you, because you need to be focused, and you need to know who you are and whose you are. So if somebody or an outside force comes and says you cannot make it, you are stupid. Being a child of God, you are able to say, I can do all things, or greater is He who is in me.
Let's talk about the renal disease itself. What is it and what causes it?
Renal disease basically is a complication of other diseases that we know and that most of our community and our people are suffering from. And that is hypertension, which people call it a silent killer. Because before it gets diagnosed, you sometimes see patients coming and presenting with a stroke. You've got diabetes, all right? And some of these illnesses are caused by, they are called lifestyle diseases, or diseases of longevity or civilization. And basically it's because of the way that our diet has changed, compared to what our forefathers used to eat. We see that there's an increased consumption of meats, increased consumption of dairy products, vegetable oils, salt, and a lot of food is prepared from salt. We have a lot of spices in the range, and it's hidden salt, but it's salt anyway. And salt is associated with hypertension. And also physical activity as well has come down, really down with our people. We live sedentary lifestyles. You are happy to be driving around in your whatever car, and there's lack of physical exercise. And you find that from the car you go into the office, you sit in the whole day, and you end up even also eating the wrong things. So those are the things that have contributed or are contributing to the hypertension as well as to the sugar diabetes. And then the complications thereof of the hypertension and the diabetes mellitus, one of the complications would be renal disease. Other complications, of course, will be coronary artery disease, which we are seeing quite a lot of it. It will be strokes, all right, and then it will be heart failures. All those, it's because of uncontrolled conditions. And I must say as well that looking at the communicable and the non-communicable diseases, 72% of our population are suffering from non-communicable diseases, and of which the complication, renal disease is one of the complications. So we need to be wary and do some lifestyle changes.
But then to what extent is renal disease a problem in South Africa?
It is a big problem because of the complications thereof. And as I said, the number one problem is diabetes, followed by hypertension, and then followed by what we call glomerulonephritis, of which the cause can be from HIV or even conditions such as systemic lupus erythematosus, lupus, all right? Those, when they complicate, you can end up having the renal disease. And they say at the moment, we have, in the southern hemisphere, we've got many people with a non-communicable problem, and renal disease of which is one of them. And as I quoted the statistics, that is 72% of our population are having non-communicable diseases.
Wow. Well, viewers out there, after all that I've heard, I think it's time for a break. I need to go and check up myself. See you later. Welcome to Marketplace with Charles. I'm still sitting here with my lovely guest, Dr. Moabi, and we are discussing renal disease and its impact to our economy. Dr. Moabi, to what extent does this renal disease impact or have an impact to the business world, to the economy of this country?
The treatment thereof, if you have someone who's got hypertension or diabetes, there's a saying that prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
So it is better for that person not to have had hypertension in the first place, all right? And if they've got hypertension or sugar diabetes, it is better for it to be controlled, so that it doesn't end up with end-stage renal disease. At the moment...
Wait a minute. Are you telling me there's a progression?
Yes, it is a progression, okay. All right? So once you are diagnosed with hypertension or with a diabetes, it is important for your kidney function to be assessed on a regular basis by a doctor. And if any abnormality is picked up, it is important at that stage to actually refer the person to a nephrologist. And what we do is tight control of your blood pressure as well as your sugar diabetes so that there is no progression to what we call end-stage kidney disease. With a kidney disease, we've got 5 classes, and we call it chronic kidney disease, and we measure it by what we call glomerular filtration rate. I'm not going to worry you with the medical terms, but basically we want to make sure that nobody gets to CKD5, because at that time it means your kidney is almost going to shut out. And once you reach that point, it means now you're going to require dialysis, and which is much more expensive. And at the moment, especially in the public sector, we've got what we call the inclusion criteria as well as the exclusion criteria. Not everybody ends up getting the dialysis. So the people who will get dialysis age is a factor in some cases. And if you're obese, obviously, it becomes a problem, all right? And the people that will be included in the criteria are those who are going to end up having been transplanted, because at the end, transplantation is much more economic compared to dialysis. And life with dialysis is not easy, because if you're on hemodialysis, it means 12 hours a week you have to be at the hospital in a machine. So it's 3 hours weekly for 4 hours at a time. So we don't want that to happen to anyone. So that is why we advise and we try to, prevent the disease from progressing. And
in that 3-4 hours a day, you don't even take into consideration the time that you drive to the hospital?
Not at all. This is 4 hours in a machine.
So basically you are off duty the whole day, 3 times a week?
Well, for patients who are employed, we do discuss with them. It depends on the type of job that they are doing, and then we are able to also strike a balance with the employer. All right, but at the moment, especially in the public sector, there are no resources. So all our patients end up with what we call peritoneal dialysis. That is, we put a catheter in your tummy and then you get to dialyze yourself at home.
But why is it that we don't have resources in the country? Because, for instance, if you go into most of the townships, you don't even get these services at all.
Well, cost is very important. Dialysis is not a cheap alternative therapy. And it's better, as I said, it's better to treat somebody with tablets, with lifestyle changes, than to have them end up in a machine. I mean, those machines are quite expensive. At the moment, I'm working at Leratong Hospital, and we have 12 dialysis machines. And our catchment area is quite huge because we're dialyzing almost the entire Mogale city, and then including Meldersdrift up to Carltonville, all right, and then Randfontein, Mohlakeng, Kagiso, and Tshepisong, as well as Snake Park. And then it becomes a question of compliance should be very important. If you're not compliant, unfortunately, you disappear for 3 weeks. We cannot just leave the machine, waiting there. So our patients are educated, and we need to know where they are, okay, so that if they are not available, or if they need to call and say, I'm not able to come for dialysis, and these are the reasons. They don't just abscond. Okay. So we end up having that relationship with the patient. You have to know where the patient stays, and where they work. You interact with the employer up until the time that they are transplanted.
Look, my energy level is very low now, and I need an energy drink. Will you recommend that to me?
Well, the energy drink has got high sugar levels. It's got a lot of caffeine. So it's something that I wouldn't recommend.
At all?
I wouldn't recommend it at all.
So will you suggest that I get rid of all the energy drinks?
I would suggest that, yes. Because you've got foodstuffs, you've got nutritional foodstuffs that can boost your energy, And if the body is tired, it needs to rest.
There's sometimes when I had an energy drink, my urine color will change. And when I have got still water, my urine color will be pure white. Will you say that has got something to do with the kidney as well?
Well, the color of the urine, it's going to depend on the concentration of your, what we call osmolality in the body. Yeah. All right. If you don't drink water, your urine is going to come out quite concentrated. Okay. Why? Because there's, it's all electrolytes. And remember that the kidney, the basic function of the kidney is to remove the toxins. Yes. So it's got nothing to do with the color of your urine.
Other than a lifestyle that we have to change, is there any other treatment for renal disease?
Well, as I said, that we don't want the disease to progress to end-stage renal disease, okay? Because at that time now it's difficult. You need to be on dialysis. You need to come to it just disrupts your entire lifestyle, all right? Whether you are on peritoneal dialysis or you are on hemodialysis. And eventually you end up needing to be transplanted. And the mortality as well is quite higher in renal patients, all right? And if you have a way of preventing a disease, why not go for it, all right? You look at what we eat lately. I'll just go to the high consumption of our fats, the dairy products, and the meat products. We don't have to eat meat every day. Okay, you just need to substitute your protein. In a plate, okay, half of your plate is supposed to be composed of vegetables. And the method of preparation is also important, all right? And then a quarter should be protein, and protein is not equals to meat all the time. You can have eggs, you can have beans, very, very good, all right? And then the other quarter would be your starch. And also your starch doesn't always have to be pap. Potatoes are good starch. So we need to change our lifestyles, in terms of our eating habits, and also move away from eating a lot of preserved foods. I mean, you go to a wedding, that butternut that was just original is now, they've got margarine and, even a simple umngushu. People now, they make it nice by putting in margarine. Why? You see? So the method of preparation as well is quite important. Physical activity, smoking, drinking, all those are also additional problems. Smoking, especially to your coronary arteries, you can end up having them clogged up and blocked. All right. So it's a lifestyle which really it's a habit that has to be stopped, and you go back to normal life.
You are a champion of kidney donations. How important is that?
Well, a kidney is a gift. And if you take your kidney and give it to someone, it's a gift for life. And currently, we have the demand exceeding the supply. The waiting list is very, very long, and there's lack of awareness and education from our people. And the other problem as well is we have what we call kidney donation can be in two phases. We've got what we call cadaveric donors, and you've got living donors. All right, cadaveric donor is if someone has had a traumatic brain injury, all right, and then you come to the hospital, the doctors come in and they do what we call brain test, okay? And if you are certified to be brain dead, then it means basically your brain is no longer there, but your body is still functional. And in that case, we call in the transplant team, and then we ask them to, okay, fine, we tell them we've got a patient who can be a cadaveric donor, and then they approach the family. And then from there, if the family agrees, then, your body can be used. And may I say as well that one person can save 7 lives. So basically, from your body, okay, you are actually, not gonna make it, okay, because, you are brain dead, all right? So when the transplant team comes in and they negotiate with the family, what will happen is if the family agrees, which is usually a problem, especially with us Africans, and from our unit, from the public sector, we are having family friends who are coming in and say, I want to give a kidney. So with the cadaveric, from one person, you get 2 lungs, you get 2 kidneys, you get a liver, pancreas, as well as a heart. All right, and then we've got also what we call tissues. Okay, tissues is the cornea of the eye, the height valves, the bone, and the skin. So one person can actually save many lives. All right, and then basically what the transplant team will do, as soon as the family is agreeable, then they have to maintain the body at a certain, not only temperature, certain status, all right, to make sure that it continues to function as is, all right? So blood pressure will be monitored, the temperature, the urine output, the pulse, all those things up until, the organs are taken out. If you are a living donor, on the other hand, is you go through tests, all right? Let's say someone in your family has got renal failure and you want to be a donor.
You know, when it comes to living donors, Dr. Moabi,
Yes.
because we ran out of time,
All right.
how can the living donors get hold of you?
All right. Okay. Basically, okay, fine. I will release my number. It's 082 925 1195. And my email address is makhotsobila@gmail.com. And basically is whether you are in the public sector or in the private sector, we will check the compatibility, the blood group first, and then afterwards, if you don't have comorbid diseases, it will actually be much better, all right? If you are hypertensive and on one agent with a good BMI, body mass index, and age is agreeable as well, you know, anybody from 18 to 65 can donate, all right? Then you are a good candidate and we can take it up from there.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Mo, for gracing our studios. Well, viewers out there, you heard it from Dr. Moabi. You can save many lives. But most importantly, you can also stay healthy if you follow the tips that she gave you. I am Charles Ngobeni signing off on Marketplace with Charles. I'm available on all forms of social media. God bless you. See you next time, same channel.